it's not the universal, always works in every situation. We kind of have some preconditions before we would say, hey, we can even start doing Scrum. An important one is that we have some idea, right? Some product that we want to create. And the nature of this idea is that because of its size or because of its complexity, it's going to require a team in order to do the work. And sometimes we have stuff where we don't need a team. One person can do it all. Boy, you don't need Scrum then. But if the nature of the work is such that, wow, we need people with very different specialties to do the work, and maybe other people with very different backgrounds to understand the business and product context, and we need all those people to work together on a team to do it, Scrum might be appropriate. So in order to kind of begin doing Scrum, we need to take this idea and record it in ways that will make it kind of actionable and implementable. And so I like to think of this as a big stack of our requirements or our objectives. Usually we call them user stories. Up here at the top, these are the ones that we're going to do first. And as you go down, these are the ones we'll do later, and these are the ones we're going to do last. Up here at the top, we probably want our stories groomed nice and small, right? They're small, they're well-defined, they have really crisp acceptance criteria on them. We're really ready to give those to the team and have the team understand what they are and work on them and deliver them. Farther down in this stack, our stories might start to get bigger, less well-defined. That's okay, so long as by the time they rise to the top, we've broken them down and got them all small and well understood. We call this collection, this ordered collection of our user stories, we call this the product backlog. So we need to have this before we can even start doing Scrum. We need a product backlog. And we need a team. And on our team, we do have some special roles. Right? Amit brought up earlier this morning the importance of having this product owner role. Product owner is the person who represents the interests of the business, the interests of customers, the interests of users, to the team. One real way to think about what a product owner does is they're very much like an investment manager. If you think about it, the team represents a lot of real money that the company is spending, right, every week. They're spending money on this team, paying salaries and equipment and lease and all of that stuff. And the company's not really looking at it as an expense. We're not spending the money. They're thinking of it as an investment. We believe that if we put this money into this team, we'll get a better return than if we put that money into the stock market or bought gold or something like that. As a product owner, our job is to maximize the return that the company gets on the investment it's making in the team. That's really kind of what our job is. And as we'll see, there's two main activities that we can do to support that. The first is to make sure the team is always working on the most valuable stuff. Right? Just like in the class, we have more work than we could possibly hope to do. Same thing's going to be true in your product backlog. There's going to be more stuff that people want you to do than you're going to have time and energy available to do. So in a situation like that, the way you generate the most value possible is focus on the most valuable stuff, make sure that's what the team's working on, and defer or even don't do other things that would be good to do, but they're less valuable. So that's the first activity that we do, is prioritizing managing the backlog so that the team's always working on the most valuable thing possible. The other thing that we do as product owners is make sure that the team truly understands the requirements for each story so that when they're working on it, when they're building it, they're building the right thing. So they're working on the most valuable thing and they're building the right thing. They understand what it is. And we may either do that by hey, we understand that story really well, and so we directly communicate with the team to make sure they understand it. Or we might have people helping us. We might have subject matter experts, right, that we might defer to. We might say, hey, for this story, talk to Bob, because Bob is the subject matter expert there. He knows all those, fussy details about it really well. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to make sure the team has that understanding, either because we gave it to them ourselves or because we connected them with someone who could do it. Another role on the team, Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master is there to help the team become a high-performing team. Teams that get to that point of being high-performing deliver way more business value. They get way more done than average teams. And it turns out it's a lot more fun to be on a high-performing team. How many people have ever been on what they would consider a high-performing team? Yeah, a few of us, right? Well, more than I thought. A lot of people report that it's kind of one of those peak experiences in their life, the experience of being on a truly high-performing team. So Scrum Master, their long-term job, help the team develop and grow and mature together to become a high-performing team. That's a lot of business value. Short-term job of the Scrum Master is to remove impediments. What are the things today that are getting in the team's way? How can we get those out of the team's way so they can get their job done? And the Scrum Master is the team's local Scrum expert, right? Just like our Java developer is an expert in Java, our tester is an expert in testing practices, our Scrum Master is an expert in Scrum and related Agile practices and can bring that knowledge to the team to help the team perform well. They're not the Scrum bullies. They don't run around going, you're not doing it right, But they're there to bring that knowledge to help the team perform. And then the last role, team member. Intentionally generic. While it's true we need people with special skills, right? Java developers and testers and analysts and documentation specialists and database administrators or what have you. At the end of the day, your job on a Scrum team is to help your team deliver stories. Right? Scrum is a change in mindset from doing my job to doing the job. Right? As a team, we do the job. We deliver the stories that we committed to. As opposed to, I did my job, I wrote some good code. Good code's not enough. Right? It's not until we can ship it that it has value. So we've got a backlog, we've got a team, we can start doing Scrum. We start out with a meeting called sprint planning. And it's really one meeting in two parts. The first part is all about what, as in what stories from the top of the backlog can the team commit to delivering this sprint. Second part is all about how. How is the team actually going to do the work of delivering those stories? Usually this involves breaking the stories into tasks. Right? That's the team really thinking about what are all the individual tasks we'll have to do in order to deliver the stories that we've mentioned. So we come out of the sprint planning meeting, and we've got a list of stories, and probably a much larger list of tasks that support the stories, and maybe even we have some other tasks that don't directly support do this sprint. The stories we committed to, the tasks that we think we're going to have to do in order to deliver those stories. And then we start the work of doing delivering that, doing those tasks. Every day we have a short meeting called the Daily Scrum. Daily Scrum is there for the team to identify in what ways are we off track in terms of delivering our stories. And we're always off track a little bit. Doing this kind of work is a lot like sailing a boat. Right? You're never actually exactly on course. You're always off a little bit and you're correcting. And so the Daily Scrum is the team's opportunity to notice how are we off track, what impediments have come up that are perhaps slowing us down or getting us in the way, and what are we going to do to adjust. Maybe we can come up with a solution right in the Daily Scrum, or maybe we just identify who are the right people to talk after the Daily Scrum to come up with a solution. Short meeting, no more than 15 minutes. It's where the team inspects and adapts for the sake of the sprint. It's one of 3 built-in inspect and adapt cycles in Scrum. So inspect and adapt for the sake of the sprint, for delivering the things that we committed to. So we keep working. Hopefully we get all our stories done. And then we have the public end of the sprint. It's called the sprint review. We invite all the stakeholders that we can to this meeting. It's very public. We show them what we did this sprint. We tell them if there were any stories that we committed to that we didn't get done, because we want to have transparency, we want to have openness. We don't make excuses, we just say, hey, there's the story, we committed to it, but we didn't get it done. Then we move on, and we show the work that did get done, right? What are the stories that met the team's definition of done? Here we're going to show them to you. We're going to demonstrate them, right? So this isn't a time for a lot of PowerPoint. It's a time for, like, let's show you the current state of the product. Because this is when our stakeholders get to see how has the product evolved since last sprint. So it's a chance to gather their feedback, and we can inspect and adapt for the sake of the product. So inspect and adapt for the sake of the sprint, inspect and adapt for the sake of the product. And we keep all the stakeholders out of the room, and we have the private end of the sprint. The retrospective. Retrospective is a time just for the team to look back and figure out, hey, what did we learn as a team this sprint? And most importantly, what do we want to try differently going forward to become a better team? So this is our chance to inspect and adapt for the sake of the team. Right? So inspect and adapt for the sake of the sprint, inspect and adapt for the sake of the product, inspect and adapt for the sake of the team. And then we do it all over again. This cycle we call the sprint. And it's a fixed time box. Maybe it's 1 week, maybe it's 2 weeks. Some places do sprints as long as 4 weeks. I'm seeing less and less of that, but it's a fixed time box. These are all the official Scrum meetings. There's one more. It's not an official meeting, but lots of teams do it. I highly recommend it. It's usually called story time. And this is a meeting where we take a little time away from the current work and we look at what's in the backlog. Put estimates on things that don't have estimates, refine acceptance criteria, break big stories into little stories. Didn't quite make it. So that the top of the backlog will be in good shape for our next sprint planning meeting. And that, in 13 minutes and a few extra seconds, is Scrum. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Viva Las Vegas. So there we go. That's Scrum. Maybe we're ready to move on.